welcome and namaste. Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. I am Nupur, I live in Queens and I make curry in my kitchen. So that's why it's called the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Well, right now I am not working, but I'm actually working because I'm putting together a little care package for a friend of mine who has always supported me. Her name is Gabrielle, and she works for the Flushing Town Hall, and she's really missing Indian food. So I thought, let me send something that I can ship to her that's going to be tasty, that's going to be easy for her to munch on. And so I decided to make this masala flatbread or masala roti. Okay, so we are going to jump right in, and I will make it right here in front of you. I will also tell you how to package it so it'll ship nicely. So if you have any friends or family that you're trying to show love with, and of course we show love with food because we're Indian, right? Think of something that you can bake for them. Think of something that you can make for them, whether it's cakes or cookies or flatbreads or something that you're known for. And I'm sure that when they receive that package, they'll be like, wow, okay, so yes, think about all these things. Father's Day is coming up, so if you want to send something for your dad, make a little something. It's very thoughtful. Anyway, enough chit chat. I'm going to flip the camera just a little bit so you can get a better idea. You can get a better look at everything here. If only I had a camera person who would do all this for me, that would be really nice, right? Okay, so here we are. All right, so we are going to go through the ingredients really quick. I'm gonna move this guy out of the way. It's nice and hot. I have 2 cups of flour, just regular whole wheat flour, whatever you have is fine. To this we are going to add whatever masalas we have. So in my case, I'm going to use some Himalayan pink salt. I'm going to use some turmeric powder. I am going to use some cayenne pepper powder. I am going to use some coriander seed powder, and I may use some cumin seeds, or these are carom seeds. So depending on whatever you have, if you don't have either one, that's fine. You can totally skip this, or you can put nigella seeds or whatever seeds that you have. You can put fresh oregano, dry oregano, parsley. So I'm just showing you how I do it the Indian way, but you're welcome to make it your own. I'm also adding fresh cilantro. Now if you're not doing the Indian style, then you can always add scallions, you can add fresh garlic, you can do it and put into the flour and make a dough. Also, I'm going to add dry fenugreek leaves. This is an herb that's really aromatic and it's very earthy. If you have ordered my spice box from my website, it would have come in one of the compartments, okay? So if you didn't order it, then I guess make do with whatever herbs you have, or then go ahead, click on www.queenscurrykitchen.com and order online. You can still get that. But this is the cook with what you got show, so I encourage you to make things with whatever you have sitting at home, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and add all the ingredients in here. The ratio of flour to water for a good roti is about 2:1. So for 2 cups of flour, we will be using 1 cup of water and then a little bit extra just to kind of mold it and play with it a little bit. Okay, so in goes the cilantro. In goes the fenugreek leaves. There's really no measure for it. You really have to know how much or how little of it you like. And with the dry fenugreek herbs, always crush it between your hands. So with the warmth of your palm, it releases a lot of aromas. There you go. I'm going to use some carom seeds. Again, there is no, I eyeball everything because I cook by intuition. These carom seeds, they kind of have almost like an oregano kind of flavor. So that's what makes me think, like if you really wanted to make it not Indian but still be a nice flatbread, you could, right? So this is whole wheat flour or durum wheat flour, not the white bleached flour. This is not the baking flour, okay? This is coriander seed powder. If you have it, you can put it. If you don't have it, you can put a pinch of garam masala, or you can put a pinch of pumpkin pie spice. I'm a huge sponsor fan of pumpkin pie spice because I feel like it has everything. I put a little bit of cayenne. I don't know how much heat she can handle. And I'm going to put some turmeric powder for good color. Hi Deborah, welcome to Queen's Curry Kitchen. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to add salt. So I use Himalayan pink salt. If you use kosher salt or whatever kind of salt you use, just calibrate to your taste. That should be good. Now to this, I'm also going to add a little squirt of oil, only because we are going to make layered flatbreads. This is not the usual flatbread that you're accustomed to see. I'll show you how to build layers into it so we can, it'll travel better. It'll stay in the fridge for about a week to 10 days. Hi Nana, good morning. So I'm going to squirt a little oil, just, you know, maybe about half a tablespoon there. Put all of this unnecessary stuff away. Here we go. Oh, I also want to put a little black pepper. So whenever you use anything that has turmeric in it, add some black pepper because it helps with the absorption of the turmeric in your food. Okay, this can be put away. All right, now we're getting into business. So here's my 1 cup of water. It's not cold, it's not hot, it's just regular water from the faucet. And I'm going to add slowly, so don't add the whole cup in one go. Save a little bit, give this a good mix, and try to gather it. So as you work with it, just try to gather it. If you feel confident working with both your hands at the same time, go right ahead. I just like to keep one hand clean till the very end so that I can pick up the things that I need to get into the dough, okay? And it goes fairly quickly. You can also, when it starts to come together as crumbles, you can always taste it and see if it's salty enough, if you want to add or take something else and put it in there. All right, so that's exactly 1 cup that's going in. If you're gluten-free, you can make this with chickpea flour. You can make this with garbanzo bean flour. You can make this with sorghum, except that all the flours that don't have gluten actually don't come together and don't bind as easily as this one. So there are some tips and tricks. I think I'm gonna have to do a gluten-free roti version one of these days really soon. Okay, so you see that it's coming together now? Yeah? So I'm gonna just take the parts that are ready and get it out of here so that I can actually work on the ones that are not quite together yet. Okay? So to this, I'm going to add, I have some extra water here. I said it's going to be a cup and a little bit more. So I have a little bit of extra water here. I'm just going to take my hand into the water, take some water and sprinkle it lightly over the flour so that it'll keep coming together. So imagine like if you were like a dough kneading machine, right? It would just go round and round. Pretty much you're replicating that same action, or should I say, the machines actually replicate the actions that humans have done for centuries to knead the dough. Okay, so you see that that's coming together. So it's not a huge amount of water. Try not to put too much water at the same time into your dough because it's really going to be one runny gloppy mess and that's really hard to roll out. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and combine all of these. You can see it's really dry and crumbly and we want it to be nice and moist. So again, we're going to go back in here. This is where you can start using both your hands and just press it and gather it. You don't want it to be too watery. Press and gather. If you have any questions about roti making, if you have any questions about your experience regarding rotis, why they don't fluff up, why they fluff up, why they burn, why they're thin, why they're thick, anything that you want to ask me, you can drop it in the chat box. I'm happy to answer it for you. And after this, you'll see this video up on my YouTube channel, which is Queen's Curry Kitchen. So if you missed anything or if you ever feel like you want to cook along, you can always go and revisit it at the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Okay, so one thing that I like to do with my dough is I like to stretch it out. And when you do stretch it out, bring it closer. You'll see these cracks. You see these cracks? Okay, so that means that your dough is not moist enough. So it still needs a little bit water. So take the water. You're not holding any water in your hand, just wetting your hand, putting a little bit, and then again kneading it. So you stretch it by pulling it in 2 different directions, and then when these cracks disappear, then you know that you have the perfect dough. So yes, it's definitely something that comes from experience and from working with your medium, but that's the way to learn. Okay, so yep. It's still a little dry, which means that even after I make the rotis and I ship them, it's not going to be moist and soft. So you see there's still these cracks in here. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to give it a good massage, and I'm going to fold it over onto itself so the cracks will disappear. This is a very important step in kneading your dough. If your dough has cracks, that means it doesn't have enough moisture. If it doesn't have moisture, your rotis are not going to fluff up and be soft. So in order to make soft rotis, you have to have enough moisture in the dough. That's what creates the steam, which makes it nice and puffy. Well, in this case, these will not puff up because I'm making a layered version. But even for a regular roti, I'm gonna give you a very creepy example. So if your dough looks like cellulite, it's not ready. And when you keep kneading it and keep working with it and it starts looking like a baby's butt, then that means you got the right consistency of dough, okay? Alright, so this is beginning to smooth up, and you'll also know from the handle that it's nice and pliable. If you feel like your dough sometimes has become a little too soft, a good trick is to leave it in the fridge for 5 to 10 minutes. You see there's still some more cracks? All I'm doing is, like in pottery making, you just take it and you just apply the slip and then you cover up stuff. It's very similar to that. So you go like this, and you see how all the cracks are gone? Yeah. And then you fold it back onto itself, and you keep doing, working the magic. Okay, all right. So you'll see it comes together like a ball really nicely. I think it still needs a little bit of moisture because it's tight, and I don't want her to eat hard rotis when she opens the box, even though I'm shipping it priority and she's in the Bronx, but still. It should be nice and soft. And I'm going to semi-cook them. So basically what she would have to do is she just has to throw it on her pan like this, and she can just reheat it with some oil or without oil. In fact, if you want to order these masala rotis, you can totally do that. You can either send me a private message. I can ship all over the USA. There have been packages that have gone to Florida, to Philadelphia, Georgia. Oh my God, yeah. Pretty much everywhere. Because everybody's tired of eating the food from the grocery stores that is laden with preservatives. So whatever you see is what you get, literally. But this is a care package that I'm making for her, so I'm putting extra love, but not to say that if you order, yours will be equally slathered with love. That's the only secret ingredient. All right, I'm still working the dough, and you see how it became from that rough, full of cracks dough to this, and how smooth this ball is. There are some cracks, and I'll tell you what I'm gonna do about that, but it's pretty smooth, right? So now what I'm gonna do is, I'll take some oil, I'll drizzle it on top, on both sides, and just bring it back into my bowl and leave it here just to rest. I should have brought a cover, which I don't have, so you know what, I'll just use one of these. I'll just leave it there for a couple of minutes. I'm going to clean up my station so we can start rolling the rotis, and I'm going to crank up the heat so we can start cooking the rotis. Alrighty, I'm back. Okay, so far so good. I hope nobody's having any problems understanding what we're trying to do here so far. Okay, I'm just going to quickly clean my station. I'm a stickler for clean stations. Also remember, if you're using the same station and there's little pieces of dough, then your roti is going to get stuck, and that's not going to be cool. Okay, let me grab some dry flour for dredging and a pastry brush for spreading some oil. That's about it. We are ready. Okay, so this is my dry flour, the same durum wheat flour that I was using to knead the dough. It's the same durum wheat flour that I'm using for this. Put this away. You're gonna need my tools. You need a rolling pin, and you need something to flip your rotis with. Okay. It's just gonna be resting for a couple of seconds, and you can see by the time I make all the other arrangements, it's ready to go. I've cranked up the heat on that. This is some oil. Let's get this party started. Okay, so I got it out of the bowl, and now I'm gonna give it a final roll on my station. It'll take care of all the cracks that we saw before. None of that is going to exist anymore. You will see what a beautiful dough I'm talking about. Yeah, baby's butt, bro. Okay. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. See? So just a couple of minutes of rest and a little bit of oil. If you're oil free, you can always use one of those spray things. See, is that a good dough or what? Yeah. All right, now just gonna roll it into a log. If you want all the rotis to be even and to be the same, you can measure it, you can cut it and then do it the way the bakers do, but I've just been doing this long enough. So I'm just gonna take a ball that's about this size, and this is what we are going to work with. Okay, let me put the rest of it away. And I'm also gonna cover it so it does not dry out on me. Okay, there we go. So you're going to take this ball, remember it was round, so take it in your hand and flatten it a little bit like that. And then also pinch the edges, you see? Just take the edges and pinch them so they're even on all sides. So basically you have a dome in the center. It's like a flying saucer. You have a dome in the center. Hey Indra, how are you? We're making some masala rotis. So you have a dome in the center and the sides are pinched, the edges. Okay, so we're gonna go and dredge it into some dome wheat flour. You're gonna roll it out. You roll it, you turn it 90 degrees, you roll it back and forth, and then you turn it 90 degrees, roll it, and turn it 90 degrees. And this is not like pie making, so you're really not pushing out like that and pushing in like this. So the more pressure is actually happening on one side. So you're basically just keeping your pressure here, and this hand is kind of just loose. So it's like this. Okay, so you're gonna roll this out. And when it's about this big, now one way to do it is if you just want to eat it as rotis, you can just bake it like this on your skillet. But I'm going to layer them because I want them to last longer, so I'm going to make a layered paratha. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of oil. Spread it out nicely with a pastry brush. And then I'm going to fold the layers so that when it's cooked, it has nice layers into which the steam can be trapped, hence ensuring more moist rotis, especially if they're going to be reheated, right? So it's very easy. All you do is you fold in from this side, you fold in from this side. Basically just make a square pocket. You fold in from here, excuse me, and you fold in from there. See how it became a little pocket? You see, all these things are going to become layers, right? Some people also like to dust some flour inside. I don't like to do that. Back to the rolling board. Again, you're going to go back and forth. Now in this thing, you're not trying to give it any round shape, so it's fairly easy to roll out. You're going to turn it to the other side, and then you're going to roll it out again. You're going to give it a 90-degree flip. You're going to roll it out again. Another flip. Roll it out again. Another flip. Roll it out again. Yeah, baby. Okay. All right. Looks like we are in business. Alright, so this is ready. It's a little bit thicker than what the regular roti looks like, only because we have to refry it, and we are also not trying to dry it out when it ships. So you want to make it a little bit thicker than a regular roti. I'm going to go in here and crank up the heat to full. And I will show you at what stage we are going to remove it if we have to ship it. And I'll also show you the stage till which we should cook it in order to eat it right away. Okay, so I'm going to draw this closer so that I can work this. Now if you see, the top of it is turning to get translucent. So it's going to start looking dry. It's not wet, it's not sticky, so you'll know that it's time to give it a flip. But I would still wait a couple of seconds till you see these bubbles coming on the top. Don't touch it. And usually while that's happening, an expert will be rolling out another roti, right? They won't be sticking around and waiting for something to happen. Hi Suman, how are you? Welcome. Okay, so you see all these bubbles that are coming up? Now is a very good time to give this a flip. And see, it's already got some brown spots happening. Now when you buy rotis from the supermarket or you buy it from the Indian grocery stores, those rotis are supposed to last for 1 month or 2 months in your fridge. That thing is full of preservatives, it's full of gum, it's full of a lot of things you can't pronounce, and even the colors that you see are all chemical colors. It has a lot of sugars in it, a lot of gums in it. If you're vegan, vegetarian, You don't want to put all those preservatives in your body, right? So this is a really easy way to make it. I can make it for you. You can make it yourself. I taught you the skills, right? Okay, now the other side has to sit there for a little bit longer than this first side. Once that happens, you can always sneak underneath and see what's going on. You see how brown it is? So this is a good time to remove it. Now I'm shipping it, so I'll remove it now and I'll make all the rotis semi-cooked and I will ship it just like this. So that when she's getting ready to eat them, all she has to do is just spray it with some oil and then fry them on her skillet and it'll be ready. So if you're shipping something as a care package, or you're going to ship it with 1 or 2 days of shipping time, then you don't want to fully cook the rotis in oil. You want to just leave them dry as possible, so that there is no moisture and it will last well. Okay, so that's the way to do it. But if you're going to serve it right now for breakfast or with your chai, you're going to go back to the first side. You're going to hit it with a little bit of oil. If you're oil free, you can just do the spray, the 0 calorie olive oil spray or whatever. And you don't want to over oil this. You don't want to. You can even eat it just like that. You just need to cook the second side. So that's all. So if you're oil free, you can just flip it a second time over and wait for it to be nice and crisp. You see how it fluffs up? Are you seeing that, you guys? See that? That's because there's enough moisture in the dough, which is why you get the pockets of steam, which makes your roti puff up like that. Okay, even though there are layers in this, it does let you do that. So that's the sign of a atta or dough that's made perfectly. So just give it a little massage, you know, show some love. And I, for one, whatever I cook, if I cannot feed it to my kid, I cannot feed it to anybody. Does that look good or what? Can you show me a thumbs up or some hearts? Like, can I see some hearts in here, right? It smells really good because all the herbs that were put in there, all the fenugreek that went in there, it's really aromatic. And it smells absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure that Gabrielle will be, thank you for the hearts. Yeah, I'm sure Gabrielle will be very pleased to receive this package. So you've noticed that I've not put any oil on the other side. We're trying not to eat too much oil. So whatever is remaining in the skillet is good enough. Yeah, so that's how you make rotis, and that's how you send it to your friends so that they can feel happy. It's not a plain roti, it's a masala roti, so it's a little bit of an exclusive thing. And if you're wondering how you would ship something like this, right? So let me give you a quick idea of how I do that as well. So all the rotis will get individually wrapped onto this paper. Hi Tabassum. They will get wrapped onto this paper, and then the whole stash will get wrapped in saran wrap, and then all of it is going to go into this bag, which is going to get sealed from the top. So that's how it ships. And usually it'll last for about 7 days in your fridge. So whenever you're ready to eat it, all you got to do is just go to your skillet, reheat it. You can either add butter just before eating, or you can fry it out with a little bit of oil when you do this. Okay, now I think we have to do the most important part of this demo, which is the taste test. What is that? That is called the taste test. So this is what it looks like. It's really hot. And the best way to serve it is, like, if you make it really crunchy, the best way to serve it is just take it and kind of crush it between your hands. And look, you can see all the layers. Do you see that? You see all the layers inside? That is so cool, right? You can see all the seasoning. You can see all the layers popping up. And let me tell you, the more, it's like a croissant. The more butter you put in, of course you'll get more layers, right? So look, there's like layers on every side. There you go. So I know that Gabrielle will be very pleased when she gets these in her care packet, right? It's nice to have a friend who's a foodie, and it's nice to have a friend who's a chef, aka me. So if you want to be my friend and you're craving these, you can send me a message. I will ship some to you. Today is just not a busy day for me, so I'm not bulk cooking, but I thought this was a good day to send some love to Gabrielle. Okay, so I'm going to taste this, and I'll tell you exactly the emotions that come out when I taste this. This reminds me of my grandmother, because this used to be her favorite thing for breakfast. God bless her soul. But My grandmother was Punjabi, and literally everybody grew up on parathas. So later on in life, when my dad started having a lot of health problems, and he had cancer, and he recovered from that, and he went in remission, then he had a recurrence, and then again he recovered from that. He would always say that I give all the attributes for my strength come from my mother's parathas, and this used to be one of those parathas that she would make. She made several other ones, but of course they would be slathered with ghee, and it was a very scrumptious breakfast in my grandmother's house. So if you liked what you saw, do try it in your own home. I would appreciate it if you can tag me when you take pictures of it, or just share the reactions of your loved ones. I also have a Facebook group where you can get weekly meal plans. You can get ideas of what to cook during the week, because right now everybody's like, gosh, what do I make? And so I have 6 days of eating where you can figure out, you don't have to think what to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything is broken down for you. It's not just Indian food, it's a nice international way of eating, but everything is pantry based, so it's very easily available. If you like to join that group, it's how to cook vegetarian and vegan Indian food. So feel free to join that group. I would be happy to see you there. Every week there's a new menu plan that goes on, and you can get a lot of ideas of what you could be eating with limited resources. As again, if you found value in this, feel free to share this with your friends or family, start a watch party from your Facebook page, and continue to support my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. These are tough times. I'm struggling as a small business, but I still feel like this is what I know, this is what I do, and I'm happy to share what I know, right? So enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you in another one soon, and like again, be blissful, be flavorful, and be safe out there. Many prayers for your protection and for your family. Namaste, and thank you for joining me.